All right, you guys. So we are back for another episode of Andor. Last week we got the first 3 episodes of the series. I think there's supposed to be 12 episodes in total for this series. But the first 3 episodes, kind of a slow burn. I kind of made my rounds on YouTube, watched a couple of reactions and a couple of reviews on the series. And the most consistent theme from everybody was that it is pretty much a slow burn, but it's a good slow burn, and I do feel the same about that as well. You're getting a lot more detail with each of the characters, including Andor, but we're getting introduced to a lot of other different characters, and not only different characters, but different entities in the Star Wars galaxy. For example, the corporate security that we're getting introduced to. Quite a few details in this series that we really didn't get in the Kenobi series and in the Boba Fett series, even though those two series were centered around a lot of characters that we were already familiar with. But for this particular story, since most of the characters are new, we're kind of getting introduced to those characters kind of slowly and with a little bit more depth to these characters, which will hopefully pay off in the long run as we go through not only these first 12 episodes of the first season of this series, but then when we get into the second season of the series, the second and final season of this series, we'll again be a lot more familiar with these characters, and there'll be a lot more emotion behind whatever happens to these characters in the long run as we go through this series. So I'm really enjoying this series so far. I think it is excellent. It's something a little different that we've received in the Star Wars universe, something that's a little bit more adult than some of the other series that we received. Not saying that Obi-Wan and Boba Fett or The Mandalorian are not adult, but they do tend to deal with more of the mystical and fantasy side of Star Wars, where this is more on the boots on the ground, gritty and grimy type of style for the Star Wars universe. So let's go ahead and get into this 4th episode of Andor. The name of this episode is going to be Aldhani, and it's about 50 minutes, about an hour long, guys. So we are in for a very cool and long ride. So let's go ahead and get started. So our guys are on the run. Love it.
You don't know me. I fought in Limba when I was 16. 2 years of it. Straight out of prison into the mud. I'm one of
Huh.
And how did it turn out we were fighting? Ourselves.
That's interesting.
You were on the ground in Limba for 6 months. You came in. You left because you ran. You're right about one thing. The Empire had you fighting each other.
So he was on Member.
It should make you hate them all the more, and you do.
So, and he was in the Empire.
I know the outside. I know what people tell me.
What's the offer?
5 days. Big stakes, big danger. Prep team, good plan. You survive and deliver. I'll give you 200,000.
Kind of nice. Like, so he's kind of starting out as a mercenary, sort of.
Entire Imperial site.
Coruscant, capital of the Galaxy. We're back on Coruscant. Nice, Nice. Oh, okay. And this is our. I believe she's a IBS agent, Imperial Security Bureau. It was what IBS stands for, obviously, as they put there. She's obviously an agent.
Corporate security, sir. They're still in charge out there. They tried to serve a warrant and ran into more trouble than they'd anticipated.
Trouble meaning what?
Several dead, property damage, interruption of service. A stolen Imperial Star Path unit was recovered at the scene.
Those responsible
Unknown, sir. I'm heading out immediately after this meeting.
will speak before you leave. Young,
Sir?
elaborate on these anti-protection requests for traffic to the Abrium sector.
Proactive measures, sir. There's an increase in construction shipments going to Scarab, sir.
So we're getting a really, really good look at the inner workings of the Empire and how they govern each section of the galaxy. Who is this?
Who's that?
You'll be working for her.
I thought you were in charge.
I never said that. She's gonna hate this idea to start. She's gonna argue with me.
I think it's best you stay inside. You'll have had time to work it all out.
Is that a kyber crystal? It's a kyber crystal.
What is it?
It's a down payment. It's a quality signet. Blue kyber, skystone.
Yeah, it's kyber crystal.
Against the Rakatan invaders. Don't take less than 50,000 for it. Just know it will always be worth more to me. I want it back when this is over. If I live, I want it back.
Against 200,000.
Giving you my word.
Something I can help you with.
Violent critical redundancy.
What do you mean buying?
I'm paying.
No.
200,000.
We've been eating roots and sleeping on rocks for this rebellion, and now you've got a mercenary on board.
I said he's kind of a mercenary.
You know I'm right. For anyone who goes down along the way, the next 3 days, if for any reason, look at me! You wanted to leave. This is what it comes to. That's 3 days. Something gets off, something turns, someone starts to fall. You step up, you lead, you cancel the mission. You know you understand.
And if he's the problem?
And that's the advantage of renting him. He's disposable.
Yes.
I like that scene. That was a good scene. That's what I'm talking about.
It took the combined ingredients of idiocy, ineptitude, and total disengagement for this farce to have reached the full apex of incredulous disaster. Seriously? My files are filled with corporate security fiascos, but this takes the prize. And you, Deputy Inspector Khan, proud, are we? Take solace in this. You will not be replaced. You've rung the final bell on corporate independence. As of this morning, the Milana system is under permanent imperial...
My man screwed up. Wow.
Congratulations.
The Empire moved in, baby. Because of his actions, because he pushed it and failed.
Why so far?
We're robbing the armory at the Aldhani garrison. There's an Imperial airfield nearby, and they've got nothing better to do than patrol. So, this is the safe route.
He told me about the payroll, not the garrison.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You're taking on an Imperial armory?
You're not joining us?
Us? How many of us are there?
Now we are 7.
7. 7 against the garrison.
Save your wind! This is a long walk.
Hey, hold on.
Wig on. Oh no, he's putting the wig on. So we weren't sure when we saw the trailers who is this guy and what does he do? And we're seeing not only does he recruit, is he a recruiter for what will soon be the rebellion, but now it looks like he's playing a political figure, or we'll see. Interesting.
I have work to do.
That was an official request made by an officer of my staff.
I suggest you schedule an appointment.
I want the full ferrets report.
It's my sector.
An Imperial Star Party unit was stolen from the Steerguard Naval Yard and found at the scene. That gives me jurisdictional access.
You've been here, what, just over a year? You might want to steady the ladder before you start climbing.
I'm not looking for career advice.
You fall here, you fall alone.
Are you denying my request?
For the second time today.
Fine. I'll take it to Major Partagas.
Don't look down.
I love it. I love what we're getting with the Empire right now. This is really nice.
Gather up. This is Clem. I haven't mentioned him before now because I wasn't sure we could get him here on time. We've had a stroke of luck. He's been able to fight his way free. They'll give us critical redundancy in all areas.
Good league for surprises.
That's Ski. This is Taramin. Nemik. And Sinta. We've always known we were short a man.
Can I speak with you?
Let's get Clem settled in.
Good to have you, Clem. We'll take all the help we can get.
Sinta, feed him. And then take a look at his arm.
Well,
The posts on the corral are down again. Now, unless you two want to be chasing animals all day, I'd get out there now. Okay? Let's get to it. We'll work Clem into the program at drill.
My man is out, huh? He's probably going to join the Empire, is what I'm thinking.
Mother.
Oh. I'm sorry.
What are you staring at?
He's committed. I'm feeling that. I want to.
Feel what?
His belief in the cause. When it comes down to it, that's all I need to know.
Damn.
Bill.
Bill.
I trust him.
She thinks that he's a mercenary,
Okay?
which at this point he is a mercenary. He's not really about the cause yet.
Senator Mon Mothma's here.
Mon Mothma.
New driver.
Anyone we know?
Never seen him.
Chandler.
One would think.
Senator, what a pleasure to see you.
You as well, Luke. Sorry to be so late.
So he's a
Only variety.
broker. Oh, so that's why he
So you
gathers
need to know
items.
The treasure for the truth of the matter.
that. Your timing is excellent. I have something very special that just came in. Come with me.
Why the interest in her driver?
1,000 years old.
Sun goddess and a serpent from the overworld sharing the same mouth.
If you can't deliver, I need to know.
Do you think I'm not trying?
I never think that. But I need to start planning if you're no longer coming through for us.
The money's there. It's just getting very dangerous to move it around. I can't pool funds the way I
They're
used
working
to.
together.
They're watching me now.
They're watching everyone.
This is different. They're everywhere. There's a new spy every day at the Senate. I visit the bank.
Oh,
All new faces.
You got a new driver.
I feel under siege.
huh.
mouths to feed. Can only
They don't
force
know
us
if the
to-
driver is a spy. Interesting.
I think can help me.
Someone who bring into the circle? No.
I know what I'm asking.
No. We're vulnerable enough. We need funding, not more people to worry about.
Don't lecture me on vulnerability. No one's more at risk than I am. You think I haven't thought this through? I'd be the first one to fall.
Why don't you take this on loan?
May I?
Your husband doesn't love it.
That was a real interesting scene right there with Mon Mothma. She obviously is working with Lutheran. I hope I got his name right. They're working together, which makes sense. Oh, this guy is dressed like an Imperial. So he's a spy.
He's with us. Stay. This is Lieutenant Gorn. He's our contact at the garrison.
Wounded, on top of it.
On top of what?
On top of being someone I've never met who suddenly got my neck in their hands.
I know the feeling.
Are we done?
Who is he?
He's Clem. He's here. That's all that matters.
We're wasting daylight. Let's get on with it. You know we can.
Obviously, it's not to escape. Escaping in a room.
Yeah.
Those were TIE fighters we saw on the way in. How far is the airbase?
From the garrison.
50 clicks, you said.
52.
Fine, 52. They'll be on you in minutes.
9 minutes. We've timed it.
Okay. You'll be lucky to make the horizon. It's a suicide run.
Exactly.
That's why they only keep a 40-man regiment in the garrison.
Because they know no one's stupid enough to try it.
No one but us.
Go on, you tell it.
Once every 3 years, for as long as anyone can remember, the Aldhanis gather in this valley for a celestial event they call Makani Bredani, the Eye of Aldhani. Thousands of them. It hike for weeks to get here just to see it from the sacred land.
To see what?
Imagine 50 meteor showers all at once, but like a curtain being pulled across the sky, until the eye, the window to the galaxy, forms over the horizon.
You've seen this?
I've been here almost 7 years. I've seen it twice. It's not the event it used to be. Now they've got everyone relocated. It's a pretty sad affair, but the eye, it's not something you'll soon forget.
Once every 3 years.
To the thousandth of a second, and it's not really a meteor shower. It's a recurrent band of crystallized non-translucent microdensities, billions of crystals, very heavy but small and unstable. As the planet passes through the belt, they swarm the atmosphere, heat up, and explode from the ground.
That's interesting.
And the sky is chaos.
Are you in all the way?
Let's get to it.
Sir, it is my feeling that this is part of an ongoing effort to steal proprietary Imperial equipment in anticipation of an organized rebellion. I have 3 previous case files on my desk that begin to suggest a pattern.
Your feeling?
I'm seeing signs of coordinated activity over a number of sectors.
What activity?
Similar items of interest, repeated methods, gut instinct.
You came to us from enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Here, we act on vetted and verified information. Alert me when this materializes into something more definite. Until then, confine future activities to your sectors. Thank you.
She lost that battle.
Know how to use this?
Yeah.
It's the Rono freighter specs and the console layout. You get done with that? It's a detailed map of the garrison. That's an Aldhani phrase book.
You'll eat, you'll let Cinder check the bandage, and you'll have learned all that by morning. I'll take the first watch.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I really did enjoy that episode. Again, it's still a slow burn. Not a lot of action, no shooting, no firing, none of that type of stuff going on. But we are getting a in-depth look, not only with the Empire, because we got a lot of the Empire. As we saw here, the Imperial officers, the ISB officers, they run their sectors. As we heard there, that one officer has 6 sectors, and the female officer, and I don't know her name. I have to get my names down, guys, and I do apologize. I had a cheat sheet, and I don't have it with me at the moment. But as we saw, the female ISB officer only has 2 sectors, but she's trying to get into this investigation with regarding Andor and that stolen piece, which has come back into the story. So that's really interesting as well. So we got a really good look at Mon Mothma and not only her dealings with Lutheran and her what goes on behind the scenes, but we also see that there are precautions taken. She has a new driver. They suspect that the driver is kind of spying on her, so they kind of take the attention of the driver away when Lutheran and Mon Mothma talk there. He hands her a certain artifact. I don't know what the importance is of that artifact, but it is a gift for her husband. We see when Mon Mothma returns home, she's looks like they're entertaining what he referred to as the governors. And a lot of these governors basically kind of knock down everything that Mon Mothma tries to put up. And she also mentioned that they shut down shipping lanes, which will prevent food from getting to certain planets and people. So we get a kind of a little glimpse of what Mon Mothma is fighting for as a senator, how she's kind of fighting against the tyranny of the Empire. But she's doing it from a Senate seat and not on the battlefield. And we see Lutheran is doing it almost on both sides. He's not only feeding the small armed forces that are slowly being put together to fight against the Empire, but he's also doing it on the political level as well, as we saw their meeting with Mon Mothma. Getting an in-depth look at the inner workings and the beginnings of what will soon be the rebellion and how it starts with Lutheran and Mon Mothma. And then we're also getting a look at the Empire and how they slowly come in and take over. As we saw there, the corporate security and that main officer that we followed in the first 3 episodes basically helped to bring the Empire in. Now they've taken over that section, and it seems like he's out of a job. He had to go back home to his mother, where he's disgraced. His mother slaps him, but she gives him a hug, and she's crying as she brings him in. I think we're going to get a lot more with him. I think he's actually going to end up joining the Empire at some point, and we'll probably see his progression over the next 2 seasons as he integrates himself into the Empire. But I really did enjoy this episode. Again, it is a slow burn. For action junkies, I'm sure this is probably an episode that they won't like. I know there were some fans who were bored with the first 3 episodes, but I'm really enjoying this type of content for Star Wars because it is getting us an in-depth look at several different sides of this war between the Empire and the rebels, and the beginnings of what will soon be the rebellion. We're seeing Andor being integrated into this small little band of freedom fighters, people fighting against the Empire, and it looks like they're going to be attacking this facility. And of course, there is a little bit of pushback because they're integrating this new guy, Andor, who going by the name of Clem, and they have no clue who he is, and also the understanding by the female leader there is that he's actually a mercenary because he's getting paid for this. He's not doing it for the cause. And that's who Andor is at this moment. He's not really about the cause. Even when he was talking to Lutheran on the ship, he was explaining that it's for him, it's not so much about sticking it to the Empire as it is about surviving, basically. And that's what he's been doing. But I think what we're going to see from Andor, the growth that we're going to see from Andor, is from becoming a person that's all about himself and stealing to feed himself, to eventually joining the cause and fighting for the cause. And I think this first mission that he's on is going to be the beginning of that journey for him. So really, really great episode. I'm enjoying what we're getting 12 episodes out of this series, and we've already been through the first 4 of the season. And I think we've gotten a lot in the first 4 episodes. And as the season goes on, I think the action will pick up. We do know that we have some action coming up with this attack on the Imperial base there. So action junkies will get their fix out of this series. They just have to be a little bit more patient. It's a lot of exposition within this particular series, so you do have to pay attention to what's going on. I am following along nicely with this series, but I'm sure there are some things that I may have missed. So I will be watching this episode probably another 2 to 3 more times, just so I get a full understanding of exactly what's going on. But again, I am really enjoying this series, so I'm going to go ahead and score this episode, and I'm going to give this episode a 8.0 out of 10. No, there wasn't a lot of action out of this series, but we did get a lot of information out of this series. We even got a little bit of the mystic side with this eye of Aldhani that they spoke of. And it seems to be some kind of, it's not a meteor shower as the one rebel explained. It's crystals that form in the sky and create a stunning visual from those on the ground. So but perhaps that is something that we may get to see here in this particular series. One of the things that some fans like and some fans may not like is that this series has nothing to do with the mystical side of Star Wars. No lightsabers, no Force, no Jedi, none of that type of stuff. But I think they'll incorporate some of those little mystic things in this series, as we heard with the Eye of Aldhani mentioned in this particular episode. So again, I really did enjoy this episode, and it is a slow burn, but I think this is something very much needed for the Star Wars universe, something to kind of make you think, and also gives you an in-depth look of not only the Empire and the ISB, but we also got a good look at the beginnings of what will soon be the rebellion. And then, of course, we're also getting a little bit of the political side with Mon Mothma and Lutheran and their conversation that we saw in this particular episode. So again, a really, really enjoyable episode. That's why I scored it an 8.0. But guys, please let me know what your thoughts are in regards to this episode. Are you enjoying this series? Is it a little too slow for you, or are you able to follow along just fine with this series, guys? Please let me know and put those comments down below. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And of course, guys, from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.